Hi, everybody. I'm Douglas Montgomery. I'm the founder and executive producer of Global Stage Hollywood. We are a new film festival here in Los Angeles that celebrates diverse groups from all over the world. As the world gets more and more connected, we aspire to bring together different ideas and creative work to as many people as possible. We intend to provide a live and virtual platform for these amazing artists to showcase their creative talents to the global audience. Today, we begin with our first digital roundtable, and I will pass it over to our host, Tomoko Karina. Take it away, Tomoko.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tomoko Karina. I am your host for Global Stage Hollywood Presents Digital Roundtable. And also I'm a curator of Global Stage Hollywood Film Festival at Chinese Theater later this year. And this is our first episode of Digital Roundtable. We have such an exciting guest today. Her name is Kim M. Williams, and she has over 20 years of experience as a writer, executive producer, and director. And she's also the owner of Inkspot Media Group, which features multi-platform experimental content based on Johannesburg, South Africa. Kim is part of Renaissance of Storytelling of Underrepresented Creators. And before we introduce Kim to the table, I would like to introduce our moderator, our guest, our executive advisor for Global Stage Hollywood, Brian Wright. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Tomoko. Thank you so much. Kim, welcome to our stage. We're so happy to have you. Obviously, I have been privy to
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I've been privy to your amazing career. And so we're thankful to have you on our first roundtable. So jumping into this, how did you get into the creative field, and just kind of talk to us a little bit about your navigation on your career path?
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to be a creative. I've never wanted to do anything else. At age 8, I decided that I wanted to be a writer. And so I really started my path, and, in college, I majored in radio, TV, film, and I grew up in Texas. And then I made my way to LA because I knew that I had to come to either LA or New York. And so I chose LA because I was born in LA. And then my first job was in post-production. So, which was very different from writing, like creative. But I spent years in post-production, and it actually kind of like honed my skills as a producer, because I was able to kind of understand the whole, the entire post process. So after spending years in post-production, I decided I lost my grandmother, who I was really close to, and I just started reevaluating, my life and what I was doing. And I was like, well, what was I, passionate about? And I went back to writing. And so my first book, I was like, okay, I think I want to do this full time. And so in 2012, I started Inkspot Entertainment, which was really a digital series that was based on my book. And from there, the fan base grew. And so I started doing digital content. And that's where it was kind of birth. And it's so funny because my my life-changing moments all kind of center around death. Because in 2007, I lost my mother, and I was like, well, because with death, you realize, okay, are you really living? You start asking that question. And so I had always wanted to come to Africa. And so after a year later, I took my first trip to Africa and landed in Johannesburg. And I knew 2008, I was like, oh, I can live here. And so, every time I would go on vacation, I would come back to Johannesburg, for a few weeks. And so finally, in 2019, I decided, well, in 2017, I started doing workshops on the continent, teaching writing and producing. And yeah, in 2019, I decided that I wanted to be here full time because I was coming back every year doing the workshops. I would spend like 3 months on the continent. So yeah, I decided to move in 2019.
Now
And here I am,
and joining us from Durban, South Africa. Obviously, you're 10 hours ahead of us in Los Angeles. So
Yes.
we, number one, appreciate your diligence in managing the conditions. So, thank you for that. So
yes, and I walked up a hill to get service. That's what you have to do here,
Yeah, no, and we're managing the light situation. But the one
Yes.
thing that I know about you is that there's been this navigation through corporate creative, obviously studio production, and now being an entrepreneur. Can you give us a hint of what's been the most challenging, most rewarding, and the best for you to this stage?
I think entrepreneurship, owning my own company has definitely been the best. To give you the kind of another backstory of in 2009, I was laid off for the first time in my life. I had never been laid off from a job. And I had just like bought a home and everyone was like, oh, like, what are you gonna do? And literally the next week, I started writing a play and writing my second book at the same time. And that year in 2010, I premiered a play, I launched a book, and I realized that it was so rewarding to just do your own thing, right? Of course, I wasn't making the money. I didn't have a weekly check, but I was like the happiest that I had ever been that year without a job, And so I would definitely say entrepreneurship. And it's very, and I tried to actually in 2013, because again, you're in that mindset of, we're taught what success is, right? And success is always tied to money, right? And so in 2013, I had the opportunity to go back to corporate. And it was like a dream job I was making. It was like the job that everyone aspired to be. And I remember I was there for 2 years. And after doing my own thing from 2010 to 2013, I was like, I can't do this. And no one understood. No one understood. But I was like, no, I can't do it. And so I when I gave my notice, everyone, like even my family, friends, everyone thought I was crazy. Even my supervisor, she was like, wait, you're giving me your notice and you don't have a job? And I'm like, no. and yes, no one understood, but I was like, I can no longer do this. Like I can't create for other people. Like I need to create for myself. Right. And so it took me, looking at money a different way. It actually took me defining success from, having my own definition of success and defining success for me. And once I did that, it's like, yeah, I'm cool. Like people thought I was crazy moving to Africa, but I'm like, like this week, I was on a shoot in Durban for a week. shooting something that I believe in and that I created, and not, I now call it noise, right? Like notes and, like, I'm like, no, I don't want notes. I want to just create. And so, the downside of that is that no, you're not going to make a weekly check. But I always say that, once you put it out there, you create, people will come,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
it you have to have patience, but people will come, and so that's where I'm at, with
Yeah.
my career right now.
Yeah. So the thing that jumps into my mind is where you were doing posts, you were
Mm-hmm.
obviously teaching people storytelling, and
Mm-hmm.
that level of giving usually gives back to you as well. So do you feel like that
Exactly.
those challenges and the giving helped
Mm-hmm.
inform your current storytelling?
Oh, of course. Because when I came to Africa to teach, I did it for free. And again, people thought I was crazy. They were like, "Wait, you're going to Africa for free?" And even when I was, in the different places, they were like, "Okay, we have to set up a plan to charge people." I'm like, "No, I want to do it for free." And again, people did not understand, but because of my workshops, 2 years later, I got my first connect in Africa because someone just saw, I had workshops on my resume, and without meeting me, I got a gig because they were like, "Wait, you taught workshops in Africa?" You know,
Right.
you know? And so that was kind of my entryway into Africa, with working here
Right. And you
because
were
I
ahead,
did the workshops.
yeah, you were ahead of
Yeah.
time because now Netflix and Amazon, they're all coming out, but you've already
Yeah.
established your infrastructure out there. That's great.
Yeah. And
Hi, Kim.
it's
I
so
have
fun.
to. Oh,
Oh, no,
I have to jump.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I gotta ask you a question because I'm going back to your creating your own contents because I am an aspiring filmmaker and I just produced my own play and I know how rewarding it is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I'm aspiring to be. And for someone like me, can you walk me through, because we as a creator, we have tons of ideas and plays and scripts in our computer. So we have to get
Mm-hmm.
that out there, which is we need money. So how
Mm-hmm.
can you kind of briefly walk us through how did you finance your first major project?
So I I always said, like, when I did my first series, people did it for free. And I say, I'm like, if you have a good script and people see your passion, they will jump on board. They will just want to be a part of it, right? But the moment that I licensed and sold that content, I paid everyone. I paid everyone the salary of what I would have paid them years before, and I also gave them kind of a bonus. So I always say it's intention, and people are like, "Oh, you need this and you need this," but you have to find people, and that's what's collaboration is key, right? So you have to find people. Sorry. No, 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 go. I'm good. Okay. Uh, I, I, okay. 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 Sorry, guys.
You need to walk back.
So I think that's no, but if I walk back, I'm gonna lose connection.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's fine. So I think collaboration you have to find people to collaborate with, right? And that's why it's such important, because you can't, as a filmmaker, you can't do anything by yourself alone. And so like when every project I do, I'm always like, it's our project, you know? And that's how I go into the project. Like on set, it's, yeah, it's my script, I'm producing, but it's our project. Everyone, and I give everyone input because everyone is collaborating to make the, you know, to make the whole, right? And so I think that that's very important. And I think if people see that, people just want to be a part of it. You know, with a lot of my projects, I started, once I was established, I started crowdfunding certain projects. But even with crowdfunding, like I would always get people, established like actors and established people who wanted to direct, you know what I mean? And they would do it for free because they knew I was doing it for free, you know, like they knew I wasn't making money from it. But then again, once you create and then sell it, then it's like we all make money, you know, and people understand that. I think that we don't give people credit, you know, but there are people, there are creatives out there who create not for the money, but for the love of creating.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Now, with your teaching of storytelling, and obviously you were focused on women that hadn't normally told stories at all. So what was your kind of driving force to do that?
Well, because for me, I just, I didn't see my story being told, right? I didn't see my voice I consumed, and I just wanted to see my voice. Because, you know, as a Black woman, you know, I'm not like a monolith, you know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, you know, you can tell. And I wanted to see my voice as a Generation X Black woman, because I'm not a millennial, you know? So it was just me wanting to see myself in
Kim,
content.
could you
Yeah.
answer that one more time? Because I think we're receiving it coming in and out, but I think the next time will be great.
No, I really, what drove me to create is that I wanted to see myself in content. And as a Black woman, you know, I think you see millennials, you see, you know, you see certain types, but it's like, you know, we're not like a monolith. So I just really wanted to see myself as a Generation X Black woman in content. And that has been really the driving force too, because, you know, all of my content is really geared to that demo, which is myself, you know.
Right. Would you say
And
that?
and that's also why, you know, I decided to keep going the independent route, because my content is for, you know, women. And so I don't necessarily need a male at a network or studio giving notes on content for a Black woman, you know?
Would you say that that's the challenge for the industry that isn't represented properly? That we're not getting enough people to understand storytelling and then giving them access to stages where they could showcase their story?
Oh, of course, definitely. Because you know, I worked in development, like, you know, for a few years, and you know, there was no there, you know, at a network, and there was no just Black people or minorities really, of any sort, who worked in development. But yet, you know, they had shows that featured minorities, but there was no minorities. Yeah, and it's like they're giving notes, and I think that, you know, first we have to recognize that culturally we're different. And yeah, it's great to say, you know, we're humans, the human race, and, you know, we're all the same, but we're not, you know. An Asian family, they have traditions and their culture is different from a Black family. Their culture is different from a white family. And so I think when you're creating content for everyone, you really need everyone at the table. And everyone at the table, because I think with diversity these days, you're putting diverse, you know, diverse people in the room, but they're still not at the table. And so it's like everyone needs to be represented at the table, that, you know, to make decisions, to give notes, you know.
No, it's super well said. And I think the push for us at Global Stage Hollywood is to actually provide that platform. But you know, we have to create the entire roadmap. We can't just say,
Yes.
"Hey, all of the diverse films come to us." We actually have to start somewhat with awareness of people like yourself, so industry experts that are there paving the way. We have to then identify like an educational vehicle so we can help aspiring filmmakers learn to tell their stories like you're doing in the continent. And then also, I think the competition piece. You know, we're setting out a criteria for excellence, and we're demonstrating best practices. So people being able to show that, and then we reward them with the greater stage of our film festival that's happening in October. That's kind of the ecosystem and cycle that I see this group building. So, you know, you fit well into that. Yeah, what would you say are, and Tomiko, please jump in with a final question after this, but what would you say as far as advice to people looking to change the media industry and get their voice out there and make it a representative table?
I think I
Big
think
question.
yeah, no, I think that you have to, as a, you know, minority filmmaker, you have to create your own table and build your own table. And I think, unfortunately, once you build you have to do all the work, right? And once you build your own table, then, you know, people will start inviting you to their table. And that's the unfortunate, you know, but you can't wait to be invited to a table. You just have to build your own. And you have to find, and now with technology, with, you know, it's possible, right?
Right.
So you can't wait. You just can't wait. You just have to do it. You
You know what?
know?
Say that line one more time,
Like
because
you know,
that's
it's funny because as a writer, you know, which one? Which line?
just where you're saying you can't wait. You make your own table. Just whatever your final
Oh,
thought was on that.
no, I was like, you can't wait to be invited, you know, to the table. You have to build your own table. And so, and once you build your own table, people will take notice and start inviting you to their table. And then you put yourself in a better position because you have your own table. So you're not dependent on their table. You know, you can have a seat, you can take a seat at their table, but you also can go back to your table, you know?
That's a great point. Tomiko? William?
Okay,
Pressure
final question for me. What is your strongest strategy for pitching? Because that's my weakness as a creator.
You know, again, I don't, and I,
Oh no.
no, I'm here.
Oh,
Wait.
okay, good.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, do you guys hear me?
We can hear
We
you.
hear you.
Okay. Wait, where am I? Hold on. Sorry.
You know what?
Sorry, guys. Oh, the video went out, but I'm here. Okay. Oh, there. Okay, the video is out.
Yeah, don't
So
worry.
the funny thing is, again, I'm not a conventional, I'm not a conventional filmmaker because, again, I spent years in the room. So I don't pitch. I create, and then people find my content and come to me. you know, and that's how it's been working.
Well, that's very
Because again,
encouraging to hear.
because the thing is, it's really hard to pitch when no one in the room, you know, is has your voice, right? And so all of my deals, people have found me. And the thing is too, like with my content, I did my first series in 2012. Actually, next month is the 10-year anniversary. And
What series is
I
that?
got the Unwritten Rules.
Okay.
And I got from 2012 when the trailer was released, right? I was taking meetings, people wanted to buy it. And for years, I would, people would contact me and pitch themselves. And I was like, no, it's not. And people again thought I was crazy because they were like, wait, people.
Now we lost you, or you're coming back. Hey, question. While she's
Like what? It's not the and because the thing. Oh, hello.
yeah,
Can you hear me now?
Start over on the part
Okay.
where you're
No, I
pitching
was
and
saying that when my series was released, I got so many calls and I had meetings and people wanted to buy the series and I was saying no. And people again thought I was crazy, but I was like, well, they're not the right person. And I was able to say no because I was creating not to sell a project. I was creating for the sake of creating. So it wasn't for me. I was like, no, when the right person comes, because again, collaboration is so important, right? And then in 2018, someone came to me and wanted to, license both series. I felt that it was the right partner. And I said yes. But between that, I had turned down a few people, a few companies. And it was easy for me to do it because I was like, well, no, I didn't create this to sell it. I created it to get it out. And yeah, selling it is a reward, but it's not, it's okay. If
Kim.
I would have never sold it.
Kim, I have a question for you. So, backing up what Tomoko said, is there a difference between selling you or pitching your product or your project to people that are going to collaborate with you on the project? Is that the same as pitching to sell it? Because you still are talking people into being a part of your vision, your story. Or what are the differences?
I guess you're right. There is because you do have to pitch yourself. But at the same time, I think people, like people who I've worked with, they have seen, they know my work and I've had, people come to me and say, oh, I've heard about you. I want to work with you, So
Okay.
it's all about like building your reputation. And I'm known at like when people work with me, they know that it's a project with passion.
Yeah.
So what I'm
Like
hearing is,
I'm creating it for the right reason. Yeah.
yes, because
Hello.
because you said that yes. Can you hear me, Kim? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Just
you.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So so you said that you released your series. So I saw your project website on YouTube. So was that the platform you used to release your
Yeah.
series? Okay.
I
And then
use
people know about it and
and it just built And the funny thing, again, when I was doing the workshops in Kenya, the person I connected to, they like I reached out, just, you know, I found someone on Instagram, right? And I reached out and I was like, yeah, you know, this is what I want to do. My name is Kim Williams. And they were like, wait, are you Kim Williams from the Unwritten Rules? You know, like they knew. And I was like, oh yeah. They're like, oh, of course. You know, so again, it's like when you do things, other opportunities, other doors will open, you know.
Yeah, and so many people are caught up in the pitching to people before they would even pursue their own projects. And I think, again, that's what prevents us from having enough talent and stories in the marketplace. So, Tomoko, that's really a call to you, the same way that you would talk to someone about your project to get them to be a part of it, is probably the building blocks of how you would pitch it to someone to eventually sell it. And I mean, really, for all of our audience, that's something that you really have to take into account. The confidence to go forward and tell your story is really what we want to leave with you. So, listen, this has been fantastic. Are there any final parting words that you would want to share with us?
No, just, you know, define success for you, and just lead with your authentic voice. And I think once you do that, you can never go wrong. You know, your work will then speak for itself.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, listen, on behalf of Tomoko and Doug and the entire Global Stage Hollywood team, we want to thank Kim M. Williams for being with us. It was, listen, the fact that you're doing this at what is it, 11 o'clock at night or something, like it's
It's like 7:30 on a
okay,
beach in a small
so yeah,
town.
the ultimate, this is what creators do, right? We make it happen no matter what. So listen, we appreciate you,
Yeah.
and looking forward to all the additional projects that you're going to be coming to the table with.
Yeah, you make it happen.
All right, thank you.
Define
Okay, thank you
success
so much
for
for
yourself. Thank you, Kim.
Define success for yourself.
Thank you, Kim.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay.
Great job, Kim.
Bye, guys.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.
be safe.
Thanks.